She was a destitute woman whose life was dependent on others. She was forced to be a scapegoat and traded herself, which resulted in her pregnancy. He considered that she was the ultimate embodiment of evil as she was greedy and deceitful. She tried all her efforts to win his heart but failed. Her departure made him so furious that he searched through the ends of the world and managed to recapture her. The whole city knew that she would face the most devastating consequences imaginable. She asked him in desperation, "I left our marriage with nothing, so why won't you let me go?" In a domineering tone, he answered, "You've stolen my heart and given birth to my child, and you wish to escape from me?" Sabrina Scott walked out of prison before dusk fell. She had been temporarily bailed out of jail for one day. Holding a slip of paper with an address on it in her hand, she took a bus at the gate of the prison. She arrived at an old mansion halfway up the mountain when it was almost nightfall. The doorman then led Sabrina into a bedroom. The bedroom was pitch black, and she was hit by an overwhelming metallic scent that made her stomach churn. Before she had adapted herself to the darkness in the room, a pair of strong arms grabbed her and she fell into a man's embrace. A hot breath blew by her ear. "So, you are what they sent for me to enjoy before my death, the call girl? Call girl?" Sabrina's tears came rolling down her eyes. She suddenly felt frightened, and her voice trembled. "Are you dying soon?" "Yes." "Do you regret doing my business?" The man sneered faintly. "I don't regret it," Sabrina said miserably. She had no room for regret because her mother was waiting to be saved by her. Although she could not see the man's face in the darkness, she could feel the man did not seem like somebody who was dying. A couple of hours later, the man finally fell asleep. "Is he dead already?" Sabrina had no time to be in fear, and she quickly fled the mansion. At that time, the night sky began to rain heavily. She ran in the rain to the Lin residence. It was 11 o'clock at night and the door to the Lin residence was locked. However, Sabrina could hear the joyful noise in the house as if there was something worth celebrating. "Open the door, quickly, open the door and give me the money. I need to go save my mother. Open the door, open the door." The door was still locked. She was muddle-headed and was a little unsteady on her feet at this point because she had waited for the bus in the rain for a long time before she had to run to Lin residence. However, she had to brace herself up and kept banging hard on the door of Lin residence. "Open the door, quickly give me the money. I need to go save my mother." Bang! The door was pushed open from inside, and Sabrina's despaired gaze suddenly sparkled. The person behind the door looked at Sabrina with contempt and disgust. Sabrina knew that she looked worse than a beggar now. However, she could not care for her image now. She rushed up and looked at the person with a pleading look in her eyes. "I have done what you asked me to do. Quickly give me the money. My mother's life cannot wait any longer. Please. Your mother is dead, so you no longer need the money." The person who opened the door threw a black-framed picture into the rain, then mercilessly closed the door. "What?" Sabrina was stupefied as she stood motionless in the heavy rain. Long afterward, she let out a harsh cry. Mother, I was late, wasn't I? I missed the timing to save you, didn't I? My mother is dead. My mother is dead." Sabrina hugged her mother's coffin portrait, curled up in the rain, and muttered to herself. She then crawled up and started to bang on the door like a crazy person. "Liar, I've done what I promised you, but you didn't save my mother. Return my mother to me. Liar, your whole family will face the consequences they deserve. Liar, liar, liar. I hope karma catches up with your whole family and they face the consequences they deserve." Sabrina fainted for crying too much outside the door of the Lin residence. When she woke up, 3 days had passed, and she was in prison again. She was sent to the medical care area when she was in a coma because she had a high fever. Her fever came down after 3 days, and she was returned to the original imprisonment area. A few female inmates came and surrounded her. "I thought she was released and freed after being bailed out, but she was sent back in again just after 3 days. I heard she was lent out to be toyed with for a night." The well-built female gang leader pulled Sabrina's hair and let out a burst of sinister laughter. "What a good life this woman had. Watch me show her what real punishment feels like today." Sabrina did not even bat an eyelid. Let them do their worst. If they ended her life, it would be perfect for her to reunite with her mother. As the women started to strip Sabrina's clothing, a stern voice came from the door. "What are you doing?" The female gang leader instantly put on a fake smile. "Sabrina was sick. We were just concerned for her." The correctional officer did not answer but shouted Sabrina's prison code. 036. "Come out." Sabrina walked out and asked indifferently, "What did I do wrong now?" "You have been acquitted." The correctional officer said blankly. "What?" Sabrina thought she hallucinated. It was until when she was out of the prison door that she realized it was real. She cried tears of joy and murmured, "Mother, I couldn't save you, but could you forgive me? I will see you now. Where are you buried? Are you Miss Scott?" A man's voice came coldly, and then a man in a suit stood before Sabrina. Right behind the man, there was a black car stopped. Sabrina could vaguely see a man with shades was watching her from the car. She nodded. "Yes, that's me. You." The man did not answer but turned around and spoke politely to the man in shades seated in the car. "Young Master Sebastian, it's her. Bring her over," the man in shades ordered. Sabrina, who was still confused, was pushed into the car and sat next to the man in shades. She immediately felt an icy, intimidating presence that sent chills down her spine. Sabrina felt her life was in his hands. "I am Sebastian Ford." The man introduced himself with a voice that could freeze the sun. Sabrina could not help but shivered and asked gently, "I have not been acquitted, but I am going to receive my death sentence, right? I'm taking you to get a marriage certificate." Sebastian was reluctant to even look at her once more. Sabrina suddenly thought his voice was familiar. It sounded like the man that died that night. However, the man had died. "What did you say?" She thought she had heard it wrong.